We are now live streaming to Facebook. Yay.
Woohoo.
Awesome. You know, I am so absolutely blown away by this whole Zoom thing. So much so that I cannot believe that I resisted this for so long.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've always loved Zoom. I think it's so great.
I love Zoom for what it was. I mean, I was using it for meetings and doing things like that. But I never actually used it for streaming, and it was really the cost.
Yeah. So great. Yeah.
I love Zoom for what it was.
Crap,
I mean, I was using it for.
We're getting double play there.
Yeah, because I forgot the mute tab. Okay, so there is a little learning curve when it comes to Zoom. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but they've done great. It's done great. And again, we try something new and another way to come to everybody and say, hey. So yeah, Zoom's great.
I love how the video is clear. Everything looks good. We're actually full screen side by side, not like squished together like on Be Live.
And like our wishes came true because we were on the phone and it was like that was the best way to be side by side. Why couldn't we do it on the computer? And ta-da.
But for a lot of people out there who are live streaming, this is kind of there is a cost barrier. And that cost barrier, sometimes you have to look at it like, what am I trying to do with this? What am I trying to accomplish with the live streaming? And tonight on our show, we are actually talking about taking a chance, taking a leap of faith, if you will. And this is all going to play together, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But before we get into that, I want to say, good job to the Hollow 9 Network crew. You guys did an amazing job creating Tangent City. The feedback has been absolutely unbelievable.
Didn't you feel sort of like I don't know what the word is, not hungover, but just that, you know what I mean? That feeling after, so there's so much hype all week. We're talking about it and planning it. And there's just so much excitement around it because this was something like you created something, everybody, we just worked together and created this event that has never been done that I've seen and that you've never seen in podcasting.
No.
And, we did this like virtual red carpet type.
It was crazy.
Party. It was
freaking crazy. I gotta say this because it was one of those things where it's like, I've seen all these launch parties, people talk about the perfect way to launch a podcast. And you talk about doing these launch parties where you basically get all your friends to download it as soon as it comes out, so you can give yourself a spike in the iTunes rating. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
exactly that.
It's absolutely absurd. It really does nothing for the podcast. It does nothing for the podcaster. And I looked at that like, we need to do something different, something that hasn't been done before. And thanks to Mile High Radio being, the one online radio station that is actually going to premiere this event. So it kind of made it exclusive just in that right in itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that exclusivity kind of got me thinking, well, gosh, we got to do something special. We got to make it big. And
it's so funny. We had the same idea.
Yeah, we did. I approached it a little bit differently, but you had the same idea about the same exact time. And I'm like, hey, I want to do this thing. And you're like, hey, I want to do this thing.
Yeah. So great minds think alike. Like we're definitely always thinking about things to do differently because you see that because I am a firm believer in you build your audience before you launch.
Yeah.
And there's different ways of doing it. Like we did that. And this is this was the way to do it, to do something different, because these so-called gurus out there who say that this is the way it's done, which doesn't mean it doesn't work. But, you have to think outside the box. You have to be willing to try something different. You have to be willing to be your own mind and not necessarily follow what other people say the way it should be done. I mean, sure, you could do that, but I don't know. You like to do something different, and you know what? It really deserved it. It absolutely deserved something much more than just
a premiere party. I mean, the premiere party thing itself was just, that was cool. There was a cool factor to it, but then it was the lead up. It was everything that led into it. It was everything that that kind of built up that anticipation. So when it finally happened, I was absolutely astonished by the views and the listens. I mean, Mile High Radio was over 300. The views on the live were 300. I mean, it was insane. So, I mean, 600 people heard this episode 1. They had no clue. It was just tease.
Yeah.
And that is what we're talking about tonight. Taking a chance, doing something that it just feels like it's going to be big, but you don't know what the results are going to be until it actually happens.
Yeah. Nobody had a clue. Nobody had a clue about what it was going to be like. We could have had technical problems. We could have, nobody could have showed up. There could have been a lot of things, but it just, when you have such that strong drive to do something, it's like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And that just means that you have to do it. So for those of you that are watching, maybe you don't know what we're talking about. A brand new audio drama, sci-fi drama, thriller, little bit type podcast audio drama has premiered, and it premiered last night. And we had this virtual red carpet right here, so that the creator of Tangent City, that's what it's called, was with us. Some of the people that played parts, CJ and I, the owner of Mile High Radio, that where it was broadcast, and it's the only place it was broadcast. We had this premiere event last night. So we had people have Oscar parties and everybody gathers at somebody's house. Well, we had a listening party, but it was virtual. So we could be all together in this room and see each other's reactions. And I'm sure it was awesome. Dave loved to be able to see everybody's reactions and people hearing themselves during the show. And it was phenomenal. I mean, it's a great show. And, so you'll want to check it out. So we replayed it again on the sister station, i95sportsnetwork.com. It's going to replay again because the episode 2 is going to be this Sunday again for episode 2 at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. But we're going to replay episode 1, in case you missed it last night, twice this week so you can catch up. So write this down. It's going to be Wednesday and Friday night at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. So you've got 2 more chances to catch it before episode 2 comes out Sunday night.
I'm kind of excited about this. I'm going to have to listen to episode 1 again. And my favorite part about this whole thing, it wasn't necessarily watching the people's faces. It wasn't the gratitude from Dave and Hollow 9 crew. That was cool. That was, but that's not what I did it for. The thing that impressed me the most, the thing that I got the most out of, were people that were in my local community who actually tuned in and watched it and then called me or saw me in, face to face and said, "Oh my God, that was amazing. Yeah. I love that show. I can't wait for episode 2 to come out." That to me meant more than the thanks and the idea of doing something big and this, that, and the other, because we all come up with ideas. Mm-hmm. Every single one of us comes up with ideas. The problem is the people that come up with the ideas who actually take action. Yeah. That's what separates the people who have the courage to take risk as a fail, take to that risk failure.
Yeah. Take the chance.
and the people who want to play it safe and just kind of go through their lives feeling comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was so much fun, and it was great. I like the idea of, the old days of radio where their shows were on the radio and they got to listen. And we're lucky that Mile High Radio is lucky that we're the only place that it is. Like, you have to tune in to listen to it. It's not going to be, later on down the road, it'll be available for download. So you could, like people get all the DVDs of their favorite shows. They'll all be available for download later, but you have to tune into Mile High Radio and grab your favorite drink or snack and sit down. That's what we were all doing here together. And you'll have to do that to catch that Sunday night. So, yeah, kudos to you and everybody, and it was so much fun. So be sure to check it out. You've got 2 more chances: Wednesday night, Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific, Wednesday and Friday night, and then catch episode 2 Sunday night. And that just makes me want to get all of us together again to watch it again.
Yeah, I gotta admit, looking at the people as their parts came up, or just looking at the reactions from people from different parts of the show. Yeah. I might have a whole new cast, a whole new crew. I might have to do it again, see if I can break the record. Right now we had 13 people, 12 on screen and 1 off screen listening to the episode. And I would love to see if I can get like 20 or 30 people sitting together listening to it so we can watch the reactions of everybody.
Yeah.
When they're watching, because that was one of my favorite parts of the entire episode, was watching everybody's reactions.
And people could comment. Like, it was really great. So yeah, it was good. So you'll want to tune in because CJ and I have parts. So you want to. Oh,
you broke the fourth wall. I wasn't gonna mention that.
No, but they're gonna want to tune in and hear what kind of parts we play. So
now they think we're promoting it just because we're in it. Well, partially.
That's why you collaborate with people. But there's like a cast of like 22 people in this, and there's 4 seasons, and so it's going to go on for.
Oh wow!
Oh wow! So if you're like, if you're one of those Game of Thrones people, and you're going to be like dying because it's going to be forever until new episodes, tune into Tangent City because you'll get your needs met.
Hey folks, you got to understand though, this is not your typical audio drama. This isn't like those 30s and 40s remake audio dramas where you get a lot of people just kind of picking up those old Amos and Andy audios or the Honeymooners audios and stuff like that. People don't realize the Honeymooners that was an audio drama before it became a television show. So, this isn't like that. This is a completely new creation, something that's not being done. And it's changing. It's changing how people consume online audio.
Well, yeah, it's a great example of what is possible. It's not just sitting down and having a guest and asking them about what they do. And, that's what you're seeing. A lot of people are starting podcasts and stuff, which is great because everybody has different expertise, and everybody just being who they are makes it different. But it's an example of what is possible.
Yeah.
What you can do, and to think outside the box and take the chance. And, we had a little bit of a issue. I don't know what it was, but it didn't make it any less great. Like, it was still fantastic, and call it whatever you want, but it's still what it did. If anybody watching going, that made somebody else then start thinking outside the box and taking a chance. That's really what it's about, and that's what tonight is about. And I thought it would be a great thing to talk about because you took a chance.
Yeah, and we have to. Every now and then you come up with these ideas. We can't just keep feeling comfortable. We have to look at this as a way to be able to stretch our legs a little bit. When we come to doing online creative stuff, everything has been done. I mean, it's really hard to come up with something original.
It is now. Yeah, everything's been done. It's put your own spin on it now.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. And even this premiere event, it was my spin on what I saw Hollywood doing with the Chinese theater.
Yeah.
And then the after show turned into my spin on what I see like Chris Hardwick doing with Fear the Walking Dead and all that kind of stuff, or the after show type concept of what they do with those shows.
Mm-hmm.
So adding the two together, you have the premiere where we had the owner of Mile High Radio come up and he talked a little bit about, what he does. And then you came in and you talked about your part of bringing this to Mile High Radio. And then we had the director and the creator come up and actually introduce the show. And then when we rolled into it, everything really went pretty well. I mean,
it did. It was fucking awesome.
It was just like boom, 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 boom. I was so nervous about the beginning. Really, that was the hardest part for me.
Yeah,
because I knew if the beginning was off, then it would be like, oh shit, this was kind of bad. But as long as the beginning went well, and it turned out perfect. We came in an hour early. People started grabbing their seat, kind of getting in. I got the panelists all lined up.
Yeah.
We did the introduction to what it was we're doing. We went live. I think it was like 15 minutes out. We actually went live.
Yeah.
And then I introduced the party. Bobby came in. He did his part. You came in. You did your part. And then Dave came in. And thank God Dave can talk, because I think he had like 7 minutes or 8 minutes to film. And he did it. And in fact, I think I even cut him off. I think I even said, cut it. It's time to go into the show, guys. And we went into the show and everything rolled in perfect.
So when you were,
boom,
as an example of what we're talking about, when you thought, excuse me, about doing this, and you to take the leap to do this, to do something different, what were you thinking? What were you feeling? What were your thoughts about the process? And it's going to be similar to a lot of other things when people, because a lot of us get ideas and we get really excited, and then somehow we talk our way out of it, or then fear starts setting in, or.
At first I was excited. I was like, wow, this is such a great idea. Nobody's doing this. I have not seen anybody even attempt anything like this for a launch. So I was really excited. And that's when I talked to you and you're like, yeah, I have the same idea. This is so cool.
Yeah.
And then that made me even more excited, because I knew if I was excited about an idea and you were excited about an idea, this was going to be big. This is a good idea.
Yeah.
So I got excited about it. And then I got to thinking like, well, we got to promote this, but we have to promote this in a way where we create a buzz. It can't be just like, oh, here, come to Mike's show, the type of thing. It had to be, kind of had to let people in on it little by little. So I started doing the promotion stuff about a week and a half out. And the more I promoted, the more tension built in me, not so much the people that were waiting to watch it, but more tension built in me, because it's like, oh my God, I'm hyping this up so far.
Yeah.
This is a stinker. I don't want to embarrass Dave. I don't want to embarrass the people who were a part of this.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of faith in Dave and his creative ability, because I've seen stuff he's done.
Yeah.
I heard little bits and pieces of what he was doing. So I had faith in what his capabilities were. Now I was starting to really question my capabilities of delivering.
Were you really?
Oh yeah.
Doubting your performance?
Not the performance, the ability to deliver, because technical difficulties are not, they plague me sometimes. They like surround themselves right here. They're just like, I'm just waiting to mess with me somewhere.
Yeah.
And whether I can control it or not, they're there.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about all the possibilities of things that could go wrong. And I knew from seeing people's, what's the word I'm looking for? Online seminars and stuff like that, where they use Zoom a lot, and then they record it and then they make you pay to, get the recordings or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing that, and I know I talked to this gentleman about 4 months ago about this new thing that was just coming out in Zoom at that time, and it was that ability to live stream. So it's like, that might have to be the route. That's got to be the route. So then I looked into it. It was like going to be $55, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to just go for it. I want to eliminate the possibility, as many technical possibilities.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Can happen. And I know if I'm spending $54 on something, chances are that's going to take away probably 3/4 at least of the possible technical difficulties. So that was one of the things.
Yeah.
And then once I got the program and I kind of worked it a little bit to kind of get used to it, and then I started bringing people in. The more people that started popping in, I mean, we invited cripes, 70, 80, 90 people, you know, and of course people say they want to go and they want to be able to take part in it. But unfortunately, you know, things come up where people can't always make it.
Yeah.
So I was expecting, you know, about 5 to 10 people, you know, the people that took part.
Yeah.
12 people, 13 people. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with this. I'm good with this. You know, if this I can work with.
Yeah.
So once I got all these people in there, I was like, the thought kept going through my mind. Maybe I shouldn't do this live. Maybe I shouldn't send this.
Really?
I should just record the video and then we can take a look at the video and then push the video out later. And
because I was wondering what you were thinking as it was going, and what were the thoughts going through your head? Because this was totally brand new. And what was the point? Was there a point where you're like, yeah,
let's do it?
This is good. It's good. It worked.
I started seeing, actually, you know, the whole, excuse me, let me back up to the whole idea of going live or not going live.
Okay.
When I'm sitting there, I've got Drew Carson there. I've got Dave Maresca. I've got Ashley Saunders. I've got you. I've got Bobby. I've got all these people there, and we're trying to get a mic check. I'm trying to get a mic check on Bobby. And right then and there, when I'm not getting any audio at all from Bobby, I've got audio out of all 11 other people. Bobby is the only one that I don't have audio from, and he's the owner of the station. So he is like one of the key people that I need to have an audio check from, and I'm getting nothing. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't send this live. If this doesn't work, I am so screwed. Fuck it. I got to jump. I got to have faith. I got to have faith. So I hit the live button. We went live and boom, Bobby has audio. It's right there. And he comes on and he does his thing. And I was like, yes.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
That right there was when I just threw it all aside and I was like, we're live. You know, there's no scripting it. You don't know what's going to happen. You just have to be able to roll.
Yeah.
So we're live. And I'm like, this is going to work. And as I'm watching the time, I'm trying to stay on time, trying to keep everything moving in the right direction. I'm looking for the you know, where we're at when I can, because I already pushed play on the radio.
Did you? Yeah.
So I knew it would come in as soon as it was, you know, cued.
Yeah.
So I knew the audio was going to come in there, but I didn't necessarily know how good the audio was going to be because I had it coming in through a different channel in my mixer.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I had to bring everybody else down, bring that up and do all these different things. And at that point I was like, as long as we hit the mark, that's all I care about. As long as we hit the mark, if we can hit the mark, the rest of everything else is going to go great, because once we roll through the show, we get into the after show, then I just do what I normally do. And I'm just asking questions, and that's easy for me.
Yeah. You did great. You did great from the time everybody came in and how you made it go, and you kept everybody on track, and you did great. But I was wondering, like, I was watching you going, wonder what he's thinking, and how he's feeling. And
at one point
I'm looking at you and I'm looking at Dave, and, you know, how's Dave feeling? And because I can only imagine. And, you know,
at one point I looked at the screen, right, and I've got all these people kind of doing their thing. I'm like, how am I going to control this animal house?
Yeah, exactly. Especially with a lot of us crazy fuckers in that group that just crazy. You did amazing. You did amazing. You kept it, but we're all mature adults too. We know what's going on, so we could keep ourselves in check, and everybody knew what a big, huge deal it was for Dave. And so I think there was a lot of respect there for that, to, be on our best, not have a haver night.
Well, I don't know about you, but I've never worked with children in that setting, right?
Oh God, I don't.
It was, and these two children were amazing. First of all, they absolutely crushed it when it came to their lines, but I was not prepared for
the language.
Well, but I was not prepared for. They're just like their mom. Thank you for being the way you are, but at the same time, they have no problem getting on the mic and just taking over. And I could have. That's why I started with them, is because I figured if I give them their time to talk, we can move past them, and I can just go around and get everybody else in. But that was a little bit. At one point, I was kind of wondering, how am I going to, work with the children? How am I going to bring them in and give them their time and make them feel as though they're as important as the rest of the cast? Because they are. They are very
absolutely. Yeah, because there was no fear. Like, there's no shyness.
None
whatsoever from those children. It was so funny with the language, and that little message from Bobby.
The FCC.
Got a call from the FCC with the language.
That was funny. I'm not going to give away the show at all. So if you haven't heard it, make sure you listen to it Wednesday or Friday night. But to be honest with you, the whole process, it was one of those things where when you do it for the first time, you're going to have a few hiccups. And there were. I accidentally touched my phone a couple of times, and I got the Google.
Oh yeah, and the show stopped.
That right there, those are the moments. Those two moments where that Google thing popped up.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Panic moment. Yeah. I almost went into full panic mode the first time that happened. Like, oh holy shit! I'm trying to freaking push the buttons and put it back, get back. And but
it all worked out great. You know what? It was so much more than that. It was the whole thing. It really was the whole thing. And it was good time. And then this morning it was almost like hungover. Like, that was
great experience.
That was so much fun. There was so much hype. And so anyway. Great example of so many emotions that come up and so many things and thoughts and feelings when you're trying something new that no one's ever done, because we can always have the thought of, is somebody going to make a crappy comment about it? Not in the room, but the fact that you're trying something different is people going to criticize. And some people, it's harder for them than others when they're going to try something new with people that might criticize. That's a big stumbling block for people, and why so many people don't take the leap and don't try something new and want to people please. And I know from experience that that's been a big stumbling block for me, just trying to make the people around me happy and not necessarily take the leap or try something new because of the people around me. And
There's been a lot of things like that though that I've thought about doing, but I never did because of criticism bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
It took a long time for me to get to the point where criticism didn't bother me.
Well, shit, you wouldn't know that now.
No, criticism doesn't bother me at all. In fact,
no,
I embrace criticism. I really do.
And you'll provoke it. You'll poke it with a stick.
I do. That's one of my favorite things to do, though, because you really don't know where someone's heart truly is until you
poke them with a stick.
Poke them with a stick, and then once you get them going, that's when you're going to get the honesty. That's when you're going to get the feedback you're looking for. Yeah. And I do that in groups quite often. And when I do, I take the risk of getting kicked out a lot of times, but most of the time, the group, the administrators of the group, they'll recognize what it is that I'm actually doing because of the way the way I've interacted with the group in the past. But yeah, I don't just join a group and then start pissing people off. That's not my intention. I try to add value before I piss them off. But but no, criticism. You need to embrace criticism in order to be able to take those leaps of faith. It's extremely important. A lot of times there's so much truth in the criticism, and they'll bring up things that you might not think about. Things to not necessarily cause you not to do it, but they'll bring up what ifs and possible failure points that maybe you haven't thought about. So a lot of times, that criticism can be extremely helpful in, pointing out those little things. Businesses, I can't remember the exact number anymore. I know the SBA just put out a new report at the end of the fiscal year about business failures percentages, and it's a lot higher now than it was in the past, just for the simple fact of how many people are getting into business through either local traditional brick and mortar style businesses and online. They added the online business to that startup model, and the failure rates are extremely high now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just want to say, I'm just looking at the comments because I'm just keeping it open on my phone so I can see the comments as they come up, because yes, Alfredo, yes, the chat, these comments don't run automatically. So Zoom doesn't have the ability, but we can pull it up separately on our phone. And Dave's joined us. I don't know if Dave's still here. He's busy putting together episode 2 of Tangent City, but he's just saying thanks for an awesome event. You're the man, CJ. And Alfredo, Zoom doesn't have that ability for it to come up, so we do have to look at it separately. Different format than I am used to. Your chat audience is, your chat audience is slowly leaving the show. Well, they're just saying well done and thank you. They're not really adding to the conversation. Anyway. But yeah, I just wanted to say that that Dave said that, and Jim's joining us too. So awesome. So yes, I'm just keeping it open on my phone so I can see. So what did you do to get over that? Because you really don't have a fear of that, but for some people it is so crippling that even just the thought of criticism stops most people. I see it online. A lot of people will, the phrase play small. And I'll admit too, there's some things that I haven't done in the past because I'm worried about what are people going to think, or is it even going to fly, or whatever. So what did you do?
Well, honestly, what's the worst thing someone can say to you? You're gonna suck. You're gonna fail. This is never.
I think it depends, really.
Seriously. So when you look at what the worst possible thing someone can say to you, and you look at that comment and think, you know what, you're right. Accept that. Accept the fact that you could suck. Accept the fact that you may fail. Once you accept all the negative as possibilities, the only thing is left is to find out. And to me, the whole thing about fear, I always look at it like Jim Carrey. When I saw the video that Jim Carrey put out, now everybody loves Jim Carrey. He's one of the funniest people on the planet.
Not everybody.
Oh, yeah, you would if you met
I'm not a huge fan.
But anyways, he says you can fail at doing something you hate. So you may as well fail at doing something you love.
When I read that was a game changer for me. And it was like, yeah, because it stings less, it phases you less if you're doing something you love, because that is the driving force for you if you're doing something that you love. And thanks, Dave. I'm the man too.
You're the whoa, man.
So yeah, when I read that, you're going to be criticized either way, and you're going to be criticized for something that you don't like doing. Might as well do what you love and get criticized. Absolutely. But when you think about over time and it starts building up, and I know, for me personally, it's as you get older, you're like, shit, look at all the stuff that I didn't do that I really wanted to do because I was so afraid. And people said shit anyway. And I could have done that stuff, because the thing you remember is, I really wanted to do that, but I didn't do it, or I should have done it, or now I'm seeing other people do it and I didn't do it. And I had that fucking idea first.
You ever watch that movie, Yes Man?
Not all of it.
It is such an absurd movie. It is absolutely just one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen. But there's a lot of truth in what happened in that movie. Saying yes, the power of just saying yes to everything. Now, yeah, obviously you got to use a little common sense, because that wasn't done in the movie. But if you say yes to opportunity, whether it's an opportunity that's going to lead you higher, or an opportunity just to give you an opportunity to learn something about yourself, you're setting yourself up for the ability to be able to have more faith in what you do and who you are. And that's really what it all boils down to, is just having faith in knowing who you are.
Evelyn saw the movie.
Yeah. So
absolutely. And I think that, shit, I just lost my train of thought on that. You said something so perfect and it just triggered in my brain.
Was it about knowing yourself, or was it a part about having learning something to where you can use it later? I don't know.
I don't remember. I hate that when that happens. Damn. Oh, I know. I remember.
Oh, yes.
I think that when you start, this was very helpful for me as well. When you start really, hesitating and not taking that chance and talking yourself out of things, it's a little bit of a sign, I think, that you're looking around you a little bit too much rather than staying focused on what it is that you want. And I noticed that for myself, because we see other people out there doing things, and that we see people criticizing them.
Yeah.
And that's what gets people going, oh shit, look at, they're like criticizing her and or him and what they're doing. And it's like, whoa. And sometimes it can be pretty brutal. And you're like, well, shit, I don't want to put myself in that position. So stop looking at those other things. Stop, put your focus back in your lane and focus more on what it is you set out to do in the first place, and keep moving forward and hold that vision. And, we all, go over the line a little bit and get out of our lane. We start going and freezing up and squeezing them butt cheeks. Then it's time to get back in your lane.
I got a cool story about staying in your lane. I used to tell people that I coach this all the time. And I want to just say, yeah, Aline, you're absolutely right. There is constructive criticism, and it's tough to tell the difference sometimes between constructive criticism and destructive criticism. However, if you learn to embrace a criticism at any turn, all of it turns into constructive criticism. You just have to learn how to dig the nuggets of gold out of both, and just accept them. But
yes,
absolutely. The story that I'm going to tell you is about basic training. And we were getting ready to qualify with the M16A1 rifle, because at the time I went through basic training, they were still using the M16A1 rifle for training. Well, at the beginning of it, they're going through their range instructions, and right before they tell you to fire, they tell you to scan your lane. So I would tell people this all the time: scan your lane, stay in your lane. Don't deviate from your own lane. Yeah. You're like, well, maybe that guy's lane is better or whatever. But here's what happens when you don't scan your lane. I remember I was the next person up. So I wasn't actually on the firing line at the time, but I was standing behind the firing position that I was getting ready to qualify in. And the guy that was qualifying, they give him his score sheet. And at the end of his at the end of his qualifying, he had scored 62 hits out of 40 possible hits. Well, the guy next to him failed his qualification. He had to retest. Well, they're like, well, why did I fail? Well, idiot, it's because you weren't scanning your lane. You were shooting into somebody else's lane. He scored 62 out of a possible 40.
Yeah.
And you only scored 12 because he did hit the nice close-up ones. You only scored 12 out of the possible 40. So you failed. You need to scan your lane. You need to stay in your lane. And that's the thing, though, is if you're looking into somebody else's lane, you probably helping them succeed, but you're not doing a whole lot for yourself and your own success. So you gotta stay in your lane.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I just want to point out Aline Tessier that made that comment.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining, Aline. Notice how her name is spelled? That's my cousin.
Oh, awesome.
So she just has an A in front of hers.
Awesome.
So, there you go.
Lynn.
I just had to point that out.
So we got Lynn and Ellen. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining, Ellen.
Yes, thank you.
That's great story. That I always have to notice that. And not to say that it isn't good to look around a little bit, because you kind of want to see what's going out there, because then that's also where you get the idea of going, well, I'm not really seeing something like this happening out there. You glance around a little bit, just like you got to do the shoulder checks when you're driving. You got to see what's kind of going on out there, but then you got to look back out the front. That's right. That's right. And, I put the question out on Facebook today about, do you have a story about did you see that post I made?
I don't know. I didn't.
Oh my God. Some great stories from people. So I put the post out there of, do you have a story about taking a big leap, taking a chance? Call them French. Yes, we are. And some great stories and some great leaps from people. Stories of, and you know what? A lot of the stories were people just quitting their job.
Yeah.
That was a big leap. And that's something that's so tough for people. They will like make themselves sick. They hate their job so much that they will not quit. But a lot of the comments were, I was doing really well. I was really high up in my job, and I was a team leader of this, or I made really good money, and all of this stuff, and I quit it. And I took a chance and I went and did something else. Or there was a story about, interracial relationships, and 25 years back, and taking that chance, and all kinds of great stories. And what I loved is that other people were reading these going, and a couple people commenting going, wow, these are really inspiring stories. And that's what I love, to be able to see that, to be, I started the conversation, but it was inspiring to other people who came along and looked at these stories, and people who took big leaps of faith. Because, and there's other ones that I've read, people that just, pack their bag and they just move to another country, or, another place across the country, and no job, barely any money, and their suitcase, and people that are doing that all the time. And I think that so many people want the permission to do that. And when they see other people going, yeah, I did that and that, and I've never looked back, and I've never been happier. And that's just, I loved that, because people were inspired by reading other people's stories,
and
as well as myself.
That's what it's about, is being able to be inspired by other people. Evelyn, I jumped up a slide too. I didn't break my arm, but I did fracture my a couple of bones in my foot. So I can kind of empathize with you a little bit there. And Blaine, hey, thank you for showing up, my man.
Hey, Blaine.
This whole thing, I mean, this podcasting thing, when I switched from podcasting to live streaming, I really didn't know where this was going to go. I had no clue how I was going to be able to use this, and how I was going to be able to flip the switch between podcasting and live streaming.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, as I got going in it and got more confident in it and started learning different things that I could use, like, the backgrounds and the different programs and all that kind of stuff. One of the things that I noticed was a lot of people started taking notice of what I was doing.
Me.
Exactly. That's how you
right away. It was like, okay, now I see he's doing
different.
this all the time, and it's not always perfect. It's not, but that didn't matter. That didn't matter at all.
That was the biggest question I used to get, though. It wasn't, hey, how are you doing this? It wasn't, what do I need to start live streaming? It was, how do you live stream so much?
Mm-hmm.
And they would ask about, doesn't it kind of freak you out what people think about you? I'm like, it's none of my business.
Yeah.
That's really what it kind of boiled down to, is what they think about me is none of my business. Otherwise they would tell me. But at the time that I did it, I switched over. There weren't a whole lot of podcasters making that jump.
No.
You had a few, but you really didn't have a lot of podcasters that said, you know what, I'm going to push the podcast aside and I'm going to live stream. And then, well, you kind of multi-purpose and all that kind of stuff. So you're still doing it. But the change, just showing up, that was the hardest part. And I think that is the hardest part for a lot of people.
Yeah.
They may get comfortable on the microphone and they record their episodes and they just upload it to their host and then they forget about it. They don't even listen to their own stuff because they just don't want to hear the sound of their own voice.
Yeah.
But when you live stream, it's a whole different world because people are right there. I mean, like, well, you saw it. Alfredo earlier tonight, he's like, hey, your audience is leaving because you're not talking to them.
Yeah.
Well, that is the cool thing about live streaming is we can talk to our audience.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes we don't talk to the audience. It's okay.
Yeah. And sometimes they're just saying hello or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great example because I certainly noticed when you started live streaming, I was like, whoa, there's something different. So I made sure I watched all the time because whenever I got a notification of it and I was like, oh, he's doing this all the time. But you know what it also did is it gave me a chance to get to know you better.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's go back to when we first started this show. That was kind of an interesting conversation that you and I had. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, well, let's live stream it. And you're like, oh no, I'm not so sure about this live stream thing.
Yeah.
We kind of had some apprehensions there.
I did. Absolutely.
Now, what did you do to kind of get through that and just say, you know what, I'm just going to do it?
It was, I don't know, because I definitely was nervous. Even though I had been podcasting and done online radio for years, it was just a whole different dynamic. And it was like you were like an accountability partner. Like I had to show up. Like I had to show up. I had no choice. I had to show up. So, and that's a great thing for people who want to try something new, no matter what it is, whether you want to get more active or whatever it is, you could call up somebody that has your back, that wants the best for you and say, hey, I want to start doing this. Can you keep me on track? Like, can you bug me and just send me a quick message to say, did you do it? What did you do today to get closer to that thing that you want to do? Like, what have you done? Because just human nature, we just so want to please other people and not let other people down. We're very ready to let ourselves down, but not other people. So if you use whatever method is going to help you. It doesn't mean you're weak or anything, because we all find whatever method that helps us. So, with you, I could have said, yeah, I'm going to start my own live stream show and I'm going to have guests or I'm going to do my own. No, I fucking wouldn't have done that. But with you, I had to show up. Like I had to do it. But I will tell you, the thought of doing it myself, which I'd like to do more. And sometimes I'm just so caught up busy doing stuff that it escapes me. But I would like to do more Facebook Lives myself. But every time I go and do it, I gotta freaking give myself the biggest pep talk doing it by myself. Even
Yeah.
though I've been doing this with you for like 9 months now.
Has it been that long already?
We made a baby now. It's been
Holy
nine
crap, we could have
months.
had a baby. Wow.
Like, yeah. So I think it's 9 months. May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 7.
Okay. So we haven't quite,
No,
you okay.
it's getting uncomfortable now.
Whew, thank God I don't have to do all the work.
But yeah, I definitely, use whatever means you need, and talk to other people if you need inspiration of the stories I read. Someone else, Sarah, her last name, I can't think how to properly pronounce it. She's from a small country in Europe, and she just at a young age, I think she was like 18 or 19. I mean, she came to New York. She had a basketball scholarship, and she came, and she just decided to never leave and didn't know anybody, and her English wasn't perfect. And, that's a big leap to take. And other people that you read. So, find some stories because at the end of the day, it's you that you have to live with. And if you don't take the leap, find someone to help you. And like you were saying, you'd be criticized for doing things, things you don't love.
Yeah, you can fail at anything. So you may as well love what you do
And
what you
have
love.
fun.
Yeah. I used to tell people all the time because I would spend obscene amounts of money on my children.
Officially disturbing.
My daughter, one of my daughters was a figure skater. She was a nationally ranked figure skater. Well, to become a nationally ranked figure skater, that's hours upon hours of ice time, which is not cheap. I mean, you're talking, $1,200 to $1,500 a week for lessons.
Holy
for ice time.
shit.
Oh yeah. So
I thought hockey was bad.
yeah, well, figure skating is like freaking hockey times 10 with all the divas and everything. Anyways, so we'd spend all this money to help her progress. And like I said, she was a nationally ranked figure skater. Well, when we decided to, or when people would ask us, well, why are you paying so much money? Because we're there with lawyers, doctors. We were way outside of our class. I mean, I'm blue collar worker from North Dakota working in the oil fields, not the guy you would expect to see sitting at the ice rink watching his daughter, figure skating.
Yeah.
And I used to tell people, I do not want my children to grow up saying that I wish I had tried this when they don't have jobs, so they can enjoy trying those types of things.
Yeah.
I wanted my children to be able to have that experience. And then as I kept telling people this. And then I started thinking about, why am I not doing the same thing? I don't necessarily need to spend $1,500 a week to do the things that I love to do that are going to make me happy, because it's not up to my wife. It's not up to my children. It's not up to my family to make me happy. It's up to me.
Yeah.
To make myself happy.
Yeah.
So then I started looking into, well, what is it that I want? I want to be happy. Well, how do I be happy? Well, I got to take some risks. I got to be able to trust that the things that I'm going to do are going to make me happy. So it's not just about creating a new job. It's not just about creating an entrepreneurial journey or anything like that. Sometimes it's just about taking the leap, taking that risk that maybe you're not going to be happy doing this. Sometimes you have to risk on yourself before you can start looking at these other risks. So start small, start with small, little tiny risks, make yourself happy, and then start looking at the bigger. Once you start training yourself and being more confident and more comfortable in having faith in your abilities, man, everything else comes so much easier. So much.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think, excuse me, sometimes we become a little bit attached to what the outcome is going to be when we try things, even if it's
Mhm.
just a small thing. And that gets us so hung up on not doing something because we just the thought of failing, period. It doesn't matter what it is. And it's really to go, okay, so maybe I didn't like it as much as I thought, or it didn't end up being the way I thought it was going to be. So you stop, you do something else. But there's so much pressure put on these things that we don't even attempt it. So absolutely right. It's we become attached to the outcome. Don't be attached to the outcome. Life is about trying things and experiencing different things and the journey and finding out what you do love, because you won't know sometimes until you try it. So you got to try it. You've got to and don't be attached to the outcome.
Yeah. And folks, if you want to go on our journey with us, because we love having you each and every week, just go on over to gritandgracetv.com. You can find all of our social media links. You can even hear what we're like when we're just gonna being frazzle brained like I am now. But yeah, going over to gritandgracetv.com, click on those Facebook links. Hey, if you want, even join the page. Go over to YouTube, subscribe, and don't forget, you got to listen to us Monday nights on Mile High Radio. And well, you can even listen on Saturday and Sunday too. I guess we got some pretty cool things going on there.
Yeah.
Folks, yeah, check out Mile High Radio. They have been nothing but amazing for creators, and the shows that they have there are absolutely astounding. They are top-notch shows.
Absolutely. Yeah. You could download the app. Just go to the website, milehighradio.com, and high is H-I, not H-I-G-H, H-I, milehighradio.com. Download the Android app and listen to it. It's a radio station. Catch some tunes, catch some shows. I just want to, Lisa has a question.
Sure. Let's do it. We'll go over tonight. That's fine.
I'm ready to jump. I know I've got wings, but I'm waiting for an updraft so I won't plummet. Is that being too attached to the outcome?
Too safe. Too safe.
Absolutely it is, because you catch the updraft by jumping.
First of all, you have to believe there's no bottom, because hey, if there's no ceiling to how high your success can go, there's no bottom to how far you can fall. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to catch that updraft, but when you do catch it, it's absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm. You have to, because you know what? You also, and you know what? Maybe you will plummet a little bit, but sometimes that's the best possible thing, because it will lead to something else. Maybe you'll plummet, but it'll be soft, and you'll have a soft landing to something even better. So yeah, that is playing it safe. Absolutely. Yeah.
And all of those other failures are going to lead up to your success. Last night, when we did the premiere party show, I talked about how many times we've had technical problems. I've talked about how many times I thought about maybe I shouldn't do this because of the experiences I've had in the past. However, it was those experiences that I've had in the past that made last night go off as smoothly as it did. Even though there was a couple of hiccups, it still went off very smoothly because of the failures and the experiences that I've had. So never give up. Don't stop trying.
That's right. So she says, is 2 years worth of Facebook Lives jumping? Not at this point.
No. Hey,
it was. I'd say it was, but I think now it's time to do another jump.
Are you accomplishing what you want to accomplish with those Facebook Lives?
Are you?
That's really where the jump comes from.
Yeah, exactly. Do you feel like you're needing to take a jump? Like you've been doing it. So you've been doing it for, like, kudos to you. Holy shit, for doing Facebook Lives for 2 years. Like, that's huge. But do you feel there's another jump? Do you feel there's something else? Is there something you can do with that? Do you feel that something burning from doing it for 2 years now at this point? That's what I would ask yourself.
And if you want, get a hold of me. I would be more than happy just to listen to what your ideas are
Yeah, brainstorm with somebody.
and help push you in the direction. Hell, I'll push you off that ledge if I have to, but I guarantee you, you're going to fly. I know you'll fly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, a good brainstorm session. Oh my God, I live for those. So
See, I didn't have to push Lynn off the edge. I drug her off the edge with me.
yeah, he just strapped me in the parachute, and he just ran and jumped off, jumped out of that plane. But
It was a lot of fun.
it's sometimes things happen. Sometimes failure is just life going, you know what? You didn't do what you were supposed to do. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're feeling, and you're not doing it. So I'm going to make shit happen so that you do what it is that I know that you want to do. Because look, without doing these things that we potentially could fail, and you know what? Don't be afraid of the word fail. I'm gotta say, I'm really tired of we don't fail, we learn. No, when you don't achieve your goal, you fail. Call it what it is. Okay? Call it what it is. And there's nothing wrong with failing. Yes, it's a lesson, but call a thing a thing. So that's just my little mini rant right there with that. But yeah, sometimes you're going to fail, but sometimes look, when you watch somebody do something and there's a mishap, or there's a trip, you kind of go, I feel bad for you. Like, people do want you to do well. It's just the assholes that don't even matter that are gonna criticize and nitpick on that, and don't even have the guts to step into the arena to try anything anyway. They're just comfortable sitting back and criticizing other people. So the people who really whose opinions really matter are the people that feel bad when maybe you do trip. The people that wanted you to do well. Those are the opinions that matter. So when we see things like that, just know that when you go and try something like that, and maybe you are going to trip, or you're going to misstep, or you're going to misspeak, or whatever that is, there's people that kind of have your back, and they may not say it, but they are there watching, going, oh, I really wanted that for you. And they're going to show up again to see if, to support you in getting better or improving or whatever that is. So it's to remember that. But, it's unfortunate that as humans, we focus on the negative, but there is a benefit to that. So just look to the benefit of that crappy thought you have, or when you're so worried about being criticized, also know that you're worried about that because what it is that you're doing matters to you. And the fact that it matters means you need to be doing it. So do it. Do it, because the thing that you're aching to do, but you're holding back, is the thing that you're meant to do.
Absolutely.
So
I've only got 3 things that I want y'all to remember. First thing, just go ahead and jump. It's not that scary. In the fall, it really isn't that long.
It's just the initial, the elevator, stomach comes up.
Yeah.
And then
it's not that scary. The second thing I want you to remember is if you don't succeed, I know it's cliche as hell, try again. Keep on trying. Keep on trying. It doesn't hurt you to keep trying, because every time you try, you fail. Every time you try, you learn something new. Thomas Edison said, when he was asked, how many times did you fail when you made a light bulb? He said, I didn't. He goes, I found 100 different ways not to make a light bulb.
Yeah.
It's just how you think about it. So, and then the last thing I want you to remember is embrace your criticism, because there are golden nuggets in that criticism, whether it's bad criticism or good criticism, both forms of criticism, you're going to find the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's all there is to it. You're going to find truth in all criticism. So love your haters, man.
We got criticized when we started. I got criticized when we started the show.
Gotta love your haters. And if you need to learn about how to learn to love your haters, go on YouTube and look up George Carlin.
Oh yeah, I love George Carlin.
Oh yeah, he deals with haters better than anybody I know. So just look up George Carlin, deals with haters, and I guarantee you're going to find it pretty amazing. If not, it'll make you laugh. Anyways,
Yeah.
But, no, really, the people that hate on you, they've got only two things. It's either one, they can't do what you're doing.
Yes.
First off, they can't do what you're doing. The second thing is they have, I don't know if it's I don't want to call it jealousy, because it's not necessarily jealousy, but they feel guilty almost because they're unable to be able to not necessarily do what you're doing, but support the idea of you doing what you're doing. So it's all reflection. It really is. I mean, haters, it's all reflection. Now, trolls are a different story because they're just being dicks.
Yeah.
And if you're getting trolls, well, kudos to you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love it when I get trolled. I really do.
Play with them.
Absolutely.
I can play with them.
It's like being that comedian up on the stage. Oh, hey, is that your wife, or did your dog decide to sit down with you tonight?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you just have fun.
Yeah.
This is about having fun. Don't worry about what people think about you, because it's not your business. Embrace those criticisms, because you're going to find that golden nugget that's going to just, boom, shoot you off to the next level.
Stay in your lane. Find somebody to help you get to that, make the jump. Like, yeah. Hit us up. Definitely.
So,
yeah.
Bobby, if you're watching this, we went over tonight. I'm sorry, but it's Lynn's fault. No, it's actually not Lynn's fault. We had amazing questions. And, we always say this each and every time we come out here. Our audience is the most important thing to Grit and Grace TV. You are the most amazing people that we have ever had the pleasure of doing a show for.
Best audience that I've ever had in all the years that I've done this. And I have to say a shout out to Jim Burgoon, who gave the most unprovoked, incredible review of our show. I made my day, brought a tear to my eye. Seriously. Like,
oh, yes.
That was awesome. And Jim's been a great audience, contributing and asking questions and feedback. And that's why we're here. Like, I mean, we don't only just like to hear ourselves talk. We want to talk and help people and share what we know, because we've been there. So.
And you should see the stuff that Jim's doing. Oh my Lord. The first time I ever saw him come on live stream, him and I, we had talked a couple of times about live stream, this, that, and the other. But the first time I actually had the ability to sit down and watch one of his live streams, man, the guy's a natural. Absolutely a natural. His cadence is perfect. Everything about his flow is just perfect. He is so fun to watch. Even if the message that he's saying doesn't really resonate with you.
Yeah.
Just hearing him talk and just listening to how he performs what he's doing.
Yeah.
It is a performance. To some degree, this is all a performance. But the guy, oh my gosh, the stuff that he does is absolutely fantastic. So check out Jim Burgoon. You're going to love watching what he does. The man absolutely has a heart of gold, and you can feel the warmth through Facebook when he's talking to you.
Yeah, he does a lot of work with relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, check him out. Definitely. So gritandgracetv.com, find everything, our show resources, downloads. You can ask a question anonymously. You can leave a comment. You can find all the different ways that we're available, video and audio. And Monday nights, like tonight, which we already started on milehigh.com, which is not this show, obviously, because, we're doing this. We're not that good, but
yeah.
But you can find everything about us, everything you need, you can find on our website. So check it out.
This is why I let her do all the promo stuff, because she's just good at it.
Oh, so, take the leap. If anybody, if needs some support from either one of us, or some, Elisa, brainstorming, hit up CJ. We love to do that. We love to help people, because we get so excited when we talk about ideas, and we're always yakking about ideas and stuff. So we love that. Absolutely. Well, folks, thank you very much for checking us out. Come back Wednesday night.
I promise you, we're going to have another topic that is going to absolutely just.
Yeah. We don't know what it is yet, but it's
Not
going to be
yet.
amazing.
That's the best part of doing this job is not exactly knowing.
Sometimes we do. Sometimes we plan some weeks out, but you know.
Well, yeah, come back Wednesday night. We would love to have you all as
Yeah.
our guests. And Friday nights as well. We do a free for all Friday where we don't have a topic, but we have a lot. We try to get questions and we try to play along with that, and we just have a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
So people like Alfredo Tagallo, man, thank you very much for your participation tonight. I appreciate you, and thanks for reminding me that I need to talk to my audience because sometimes I forget when I don't see their comments.
Yeah.
And thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.